yaptığı çalışmalarla dünya çapında ün kazanan partnerimizin 60. yılını kutluyor. Her geçen yılda başarılarının artarak devam etmesini diliyorum.
Selamat pagi. 안녕하세요. Dear Rector Dr. Arif Satria and the members of IPB University. I'm Dr. Jang Yong-soo, the president of Bugyeong National University, Korea. It's my honor to seize this opportunity to communicate with you today and extend our warmest congratulations on your 16th anniversary. Since your establishment in 1963, IPB University has served as a beacon of the academic excellence and a source of the inspiration for countless students and scholars. Your commitment to providing quality education and producing the graduates equipped with the knowledge, skills, and the values needed to make positive impact on society is truly commendable. Moreover, your dedication to research and innovation has significantly contributed to the advancement of the knowledge and the betterment of our world. Since we initially signed a partnership in 2012, IPB University has stood as one of our most valued collaborators. Additionally, we are greatly honored to collaborate on the PUAN consortium with IPU and our other distinguished sister university in Indonesia last June. As we celebrated this significant milestone, let us take a moment to reflect on the accomplishment of the past and anticipate the opportunities of the future. I'm confident that together we can contribute to build on the strong foundation established by IPU University, creating the brighter future for all. Once again, congratulations on your 16th anniversary. From all of us here at Bugyeong National University, we extend our best wishes for your ahead. Terima kasih. 감사합니다.
Hello from Deakin University, Australia. Deakin University is absolutely delighted to partner with IPB, Bogor Agricultural University, one of the leading universities in Indonesia and in fact the region. Our relationship, which is founded on agricultural science, agribusiness, environmental and life sciences, goes from strength to strength. And it's great pleasure for all of us at Deakin to wish you all the best on this great milestone of your 60th anniversary.
Dear Rector,
Greeting from University Technology Malaysia. Congratulations to Bogor Agriculture University IPB Indonesia on reaching the remarkable milestone of your 60th anniversary. It is an incredible achievement, and we are delighted to join in the celebration of this momentous occasion. Our partnership with IPB has been both an honor and a privilege, and we are excited about the many more years of collaboration ahead. As we reflect on our shared values and goals, we are inspired by the progress we have made together. Here is to the next 60 years of fruitful collaboration, innovation, and growth. May IPB continue to thrive and make a profound difference in the world of agriculture and beyond. Happy 60th birthday, IPB.
Greetings. My name is Ian Rowlands. I'm the Associate Vice President International at the University of Waterloo in Canada, and I'm delighted to be with you virtually today. Rector Dr. Satria, colleagues, friends, on behalf of President Goel and the entire University of Waterloo community, congratulations to IPB University as you celebrate 60 years of academic and research achievements. Anniversaries are a time for reflection. I sense that all of you must feel extremely proud as you think about the 60 years of impact that you've had. Students who have graduated and gone on to do meaningful things, staff and faculty who have not only been inspirational teachers, but also researchers with their own insights having effect. But anniversaries are also a time for looking ahead. You are, I sense, poised to continue and to grow your impact in multiple ways. And I'm so pleased that the University of Waterloo is one of the partners that you will be working with going forward. Indeed, as I attended the celebrations in Jakarta around the launch of the FinCapes project earlier this year, I was excited by the prospects for sustainability as I saw my Waterloo colleagues and their IPB University peers discussing activities, ideas, and possibilities. The future indeed looks bright. In conclusion then, let me wish IPB University a very happy 60th anniversary. Here at the University of Waterloo, we look forward to our continued work together. Thank you.
Dear Prof.Dr. Arif Satria, Rector, professors, staff, and students of IPB University. On this special occasion, IPB University celebrates its 60th anniversary. I'm honored to extend my warmest congratulations and best wishes on behalf of Vietnam National University, Ho Chi Minh City. This significant milestone marks your outstanding success and notable achievements. We are greatly impressed by remarkable progression of IPB University as the top agriculture university in Indonesia over the years. Agriculture plays an important role in a nation's development. Your consistent dedication to addressing global challenges such as food security, poverty, environmental sustainability, and climate change is highly commendable. Vietnam National University, Ho Chi Minh City is proud to have IPB University as our esteemed partner. Much like IPB University, VNU Ho Chi Minh City attaches importance on addressing national and global challenges, focusing on food security and environmental concerns. We look forward to strengthening our collaboration in the future, especially in area of agriculture study, biotechnology, and climate change research. Once again, we wish you many more accomplishments in years to come.
Dear esteemed faculty,
Dear Rector Arif Satria, and all faculty and students at IPB University. On behalf of Nanjing Agricultural University, I would like to congratulate you on the 16th anniversary of IPB University. Actually, IPB University shared a similar history with NAU, developing from the Faculty of Agricultural Science to a leading agricultural higher education institution in Indonesia. Since 2021, NAU and IPB University have built a close partnership in academic exchange, network building, and faculty exchange. Though the partnership is quite young, it's very vibrant and promising. Exciting initiatives are proposed and carried out between NAU and IPB, including joining the Asia Hub network and co-establishing the Consortium for Innovation in Agriculture Education and Research in Asia. And I believe with joint efforts, we share a promising future for international collaboration and contributing to the UN Sustainable Development Goals. Together with all your friends and colleagues at NAU, I applaud and congratulate everyone at IPB University on the remarkable accomplishments in the past 16 years. We wish you a continued success in realizing the university's model, inspiring innovation with integrity in agriculture, ocean, bioscience for a sustainable world in the near future.
Dear students and staff of IPB University, on behalf of Eng Chye International University Malaysia, I extend our warmest greeting as we celebrate the momentous occasion of IPB University's 60th anniversary. It is with great admiration and respect that I offer my heartfelt congratulations to IPB University on reaching this remarkable milestone in your institution's history. A few weeks ago, I had the privilege of visiting your campus, an experience that has left an incredible mark on my heart and mind. During my visit, I was deeply impressed by the rich success story and history that define IPB University. 6 decades of unwavering commitment to education and progress has forged an enduring legacy. Your institution's journey from its humble beginnings to its current prestigious status serves as an inspiring testament to the power of dedication and vision. What struck me most during my visit was the outstanding achievement of IPB University. Your contribution to the realm of education, research, and innovation are nothing short of extraordinary. The world looks to your institution as a beacon of excellence in academia. Your unwavering commitment to innovation and your dedication to providing essential community service have set a benchmark that institutional higher learning worldwide aspire to emulate. On behalf of the entire Eng Chye International University community, I wish to express our profound gratitude to IPB University for being an invaluable partner throughout our shared journey. Your unwavering support has been instrumental in the success of collaborative initiative. Together, we have created and will continue to create countless opportunities for our students and staff, enriching their academic and personal life in a profound way. May this 60th anniversary serve as a reminder of all that IPB University has achieved and as a promise of the boundless potential that lies ahead. Your institution's history is the testament to the enduring impact of education, and we eagerly anticipate seeing many more years of your remarkable journey. Once again, please accept my heartfelt congratulations on this achievement and our warmest wishes for the continued success and prosperity of IPB University.
Hello everyone, I'm Teresa K. Woodruff, Interim President of Michigan State University, and I'm delighted to congratulate our colleagues and partners at IPB University on your 60th anniversary. It was a real thrill for us to host your rector, Arif Satria, last December to sign a trilateral memorandum of understanding, and I know members of our Asia Hub team appreciated visiting IPB University just this last June. And we appreciate our IPB colleagues' participation in the Asia Hub's Henan, China conference in July, as well as Professor Satria's keynote speech there. Our universities have much in common, from our agricultural origins and areas of excellence to our focus on the challenges of today. We've been actively working together since the 1980s, and we at MSU highly value the expertise and perspectives brought into our collaborations by our IPB colleagues. A great example of that is the webinars we are jointly planning to connect experts in the area of climate-resilient food systems and food security. Such challenges today involve global issues and require the collaboration of many to address, and we are proud of our partnerships with you as we face these challenges together. I look forward to watching our joint efforts through the Asia Hub and beyond move forward and gain momentum. And I know that IPB University will be at the center of much more important research and education activities over the next 60 years of your history. So congratulations and best wishes from your partners and colleagues at Michigan State University.
Bogor 農科大学のアリフ・サトリア学長、ご関係者の皆様、こんにちは。私は東京農業大学学長の江口文夫でございます。東京農業大学を代表してIPB 大学創立60周年を心よりお祝い申し上げる次第でございます。60年というこの長い道のりは IPB 大学が学問、研究、そして地域へ大きな貢献をしてきた証である、本当に素晴らしいことであると私は考えています。この間にIPB 大学はその卓越した名声を維持してきたばかりでなく、数多くの研究者を輩出し、そして大きな刺激を与え続けてきたわけです。IPB 大学と東京農業大学は1996年8月に学術連携協定を調印し、学術分野、そして文化の壁を越えた非常に有機的な関係、そしてパートナーシップを構築してきたわけでございます。このことに対して大変光栄に思っています。現在、インドネシアで行われています共同研究のプロジェクトは、両大学の協力関係の強固な礎の上にあると私は確信しています。また IPB 大学の推薦を受けて本学で学位を取得した卒業生2名が現在教員として本学の教育研究ともに推進する形となっています。これも本当に嬉しいことであり、私自身誇りに思っています。IPB 大学の創立60年という節目に 皆様と共に私たち双方の努力によって達成できた成果として振り返りますとともに、この素晴らしい共同を今後さらに社会に大きく貢献していきたいと考えている次第でございます。また IPB 大学の創立6周年がこれまでの成果に限ることなく、さらに大きく飛躍し、大きな社会へ発展につながることを私自身は期待している次第でございます。IPB 大学のこの革新と新たな道を探求し続ける私たちのこれからの将来がますます楽しみであるということをお伝えしたいと思います。最後になりますが IPB 大学のさらなるご発展を心から記念し、私からのご挨拶とさせていただきます。本当におめでとうございます。そしてありがとうございました。
Kampus terbaik, beri terbaik untuk negeri, untuk dunia, umat manusia dan alam semesta. Mari bersama hadirkan masa depan dalam langkah dan pikiran agar selalu terdepan, berbekal ilmu dan jiwa pengabdian. Deras arus zaman takkan tertahan, majulah melangkah, oh majulah. Kampus terbaik, inspirasi, tebarkan harapan. Kampus terbaik, inovasi, wujudkan impian. Kampus terbaik, integritas, kuatkan tujuan. Kampus terbaik, beri terbaik untuk negeri, untuk dunia, umat manusia dan alam semesta. Mari bersama hadirkan masa depan dalam langkah dan pikiran agar selalu terdepan, berbekal ilmu dan jiwa pengabdian. Deras arus zaman takkan tertahan, majulah melangkah, oh majulah. Terus berpacu dalam keunggulan, lincah belajar untuk kehidupan. Inilah semangat baru, tekad raih kesempatan, wujudkan kampus terbaik selamanya.
Ilmu dan jiwa pengabdian. Deras arus zaman takkan tertahan, majulah melangkah.
Mari bersama hadirkan masa depan dalam langkah dan pikiran agar selalu terdepan, berbekal ilmu dan jiwa pengabdian. Deras arus zaman takkan tertahan, majulah melangkah, oh majulah. Wujudkan kampus terbaik selamanya. Wujudkan kampus terbaik selamanya. Wujudkan kampus terbaik selamanya. Wujudkan kampus terbaik selamanya.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. The Open Assembly in commemorating the 60th anniversary of IPB University has been started. On behalf of IPB University, we are extending our warmest welcome and gratitude for your attendance today. We kindly ask all the attendees please remain in the venue until the very end of the event. We'd also like to kindly ask all the attendees to switch your mobile phone to silent mode. The processions are entering the venue. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the processions. Indonesia National Anthem Indonesia Raya. Singing the hymn of IPB University. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. We are delighted to invite the Honorable Rector of IPB University, Professor Arif Satria, to officially open and commence the Open Assembly.
Open Assembly of IPB University, today, Wednesday, October 4th, 2023, in commemorating the 6 days Dies Natalis of IPB University is officially open.
Welcoming remarks by the Rector of IPB University.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Honorable Professor Eng Chye, President of National University of Singapore, Chairperson and members of IPB University Board of Trustee, Academic Senate and Board of Professors, Associate Professor of Sanjay Swarup, Director NUS Environmental Research Institute, distinguished guests from National Agency of Research and Innovation and National Endowment Fund for Education, and representative from State University on private university around Indonesia, distinguished IPB senior leaders and officials, lecturers and staff, IPB alumni and IPB students. IPB is honored to be able to host this momentous commemorative speech as part of the series of events in celebration of IPB University's Diamond Jubilee, or the 60th anniversary of IPB. In during its 60th years of establishment, we are very pleased that IPB is currently among the leading universities in Indonesia. Please allow me, on behalf of IPB University, to express my sincere gratitude and extend my warmest welcome to Professor Eng Chye, the President of National University of Singapore, NUS, and delegates from Sanjay Swarup. As we all know, NUS is currently among the top universities in Asia and the top 10 in the world, and we are deeply honored and delighted to be able to have the President of NUS to share his insightful lecture with us today. I do believe IPB and NUS share the same vision of building innovation and establishing a foundation for sustainable development, and I expect that together we can establish advanced and cutting-edge approaches in various aspects of tropical agriculture, marine, and biosciences. Ladies and gentlemen, IPB is committed to ensure that our work brings significant impact and fit the need of society through strategic programs that bring together agriculture, digitalization and technology 4.0 approach, as well as entrepreneurship. We are pleased that, as of now, IPB innovation programs and community service have reached more than 4,579 villages across the nation, which cover 6.1% of villages of Indonesia. I strongly believe that IPB and US collaboration will open even more new avenues of strategic effort, and I'm pleased that IPB and US have established several collaborations. The one that I remember is Integrated Tropical Peatlands Research Program, or INTREP. Last May 2023, I visited NUS and also opened the 2023 NERI NUS IPB Peatland Symposium, supported by Indonesian Embassy in Singapore. I hope the ongoing INTREP research project, or INTREP 1.0, may still continue through INTREP 2.0, link and synergize to other existing initiatives, such as FinCap's project for the nature-based solution through peatland and mangrove ecosystem between IPB University and Waterloo University, Canada, with a more ambitious goal for accelerating peatland restoration and sustainability, especially in Indonesia and the region. My expectation for the future that the collaboration between IPB and NUS are heading towards the shared vision to support food security, green industry, and biotechnology, and mitigation of climate change. The expected area of collaboration will be on education for student and staff mobility, including micro-credential programs, for research network in the scope of food, climate, environment, and ocean, for community outreach, such as service learning program, experiential field learning, and for innovations, especially connecting Block71 with our Science and Techno Park. As we know that Block71 is one of the programs in NUS is very, very internationally recognized in promoting startup center. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my sincere wish that today's event will bring us new information, ideas, and motivation to further network and together in welcoming this new era with the engagement, with the eagerness and spirit of collaboration. Let's embark the transformative journey together between IPB and NUS toward a shared future. Thank you very much, and I wish everyone a pleasant day ahead. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Ladies and gentlemen, now we have reached the highlight of today's event. The distinguished President of the National University of Singapore, Prof.Dr. Eng Chye, will deliver the commemorative lecture on fostering research, innovation, and enterprise ecosystem in Singapore, role of academia and industry, and would like to present you the brief profile of National University of Singapore.
There are disruptive changes sweeping across the world. Because of the fourth industrial revolution, and rapid technological advances. There are jobs that do not yet exist, and knowledge and skills that are not yet available in the curricula of many universities. We'll have to reimagine new models of learning and adjust the way we teach and learn.
From the equilibrium law, we can write that the concentration of OH minus times the concentration
This is phosphorus, this is carbon. You're going gold now.
Yes.
Professor Loh loves diamond and gold.
We build software, build solutions to actually help our customers be more efficient as well.
We aim to be a leading global university that inspires and innovates for positive societal impact.
身体觉得好吗？
As the national university, NUS intends to be at the forefront of this revolution, to nurture leaders of society working together in the spirit of innovation and enterprise. We will embed lifelong learning in the NUS DNA to ensure that we create knowledge and value for Singapore and Singaporeans.
Professor Tan Eng Chye was appointed President of the National University of Singapore on 1st January 2018. He is the university's VIP President and the 23rd leader to head Singapore's oldest higher education institution. Professor Tan's research interests are in representation theory of Lie groups and Lie algebras, and invariant theory and in algebraic combinatorics. He has been invited to speak in numerous top conferences overseas and has published more than 20 articles in top internationally referred journals and conference proceedings. He has co-authored 3 books on mathematics, including a well-known graduate text on non-abelian harmonic analysis. Professor Tan is a passionate and award-winning educator. He was a pioneer architect of the current academic system in NUS and has seeded many initiatives such as the Special Programming in Science, University Scholars Programming, University Town Residential College Programming, Grade Free Year, and Technology Enhanced Education. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are delighted to invite Professor Tan Eng Chye, the President of National University of Singapore, to deliver his lecture. To Professor Tan Eng Chye, the floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone. First, let me convey my warmest congratulations to IPB University on its 60th anniversary. Congratulations to Rector Arif Satria and all of you. Second, I'm really delighted and very much honored to be here to present and share some of the things that we do at NUS. I did not expect, I guess, such a big audience, but thank you all, I think, for filling this auditorium. And I would not be talking about Lie groups, which I'm a mathematician by training, but I thought I would share a little bit about one aspect of NUS. Can I have the next slide? The video has given you just a snapshot of NUS. We are the biggest university in Singapore. In fact, we are also the oldest university in Singapore. We were formed in 1905, all right? And we started as a medical school. When we were first started in 1905, we only have 23 students. Our university now is pretty large. We have 31,000 undergraduate students, 12,000 master students, and about 4,000 PhD students. So it will be a total of about 47,000 students. And I have about 3,000 faculty, academic staff who are helping us with the teaching and the research. By and large, we are a big community, right? And next slide. I'd like to sort of highlight what are some of the things that we do. And you've seen a little bit of it in that video. We are about education. We have our huge responsibility of educating our 47,000 students to be the leaders of tomorrow, right? And we are also very, very progressive in the way in how we teach, right? But I would not have the time to share the many things that we do in education. In research, we are one of the research-intensive universities in the world. We do many kinds of research. We have humanities, social sciences, all the way to science and engineering and medicine. So our research is actually very broad. And my 3,000 professors actually contributes a lot in terms of research. And of course, one of the important things that we are embarking on is on interdisciplinary research. Now, today, I would be very delighted to share with you another aspect of what NUS does. Is on innovation and enterprise. And of course, I'm led to the motto of IPB University that says innovation with integrity. And I thought that since you do a lot of innovation also in IPB University, perhaps I think this topic will sort of be aligned with what you are thinking. And there's also a fourth part of the university because we have 47,000 students, we have administration staff, we have academic staff, we have research staff. So it's a huge community and you need actually a very good administration to support, right? So I'll talk about three. Next slide, please. Now, NUS Enterprise is not typical. It You don't usually find that in many universities, but we started it more than 20 years ago. So if you look at NUS Enterprise, which is not a faculty per se, but it is actually a big unit comprising about 200 over people and not counting the startups that are in there. These are just 200 over colleagues who are actually working to support NUS entrepreneurship. There is the technology transfer and innovation unit. Pretty much it is the office that does a lot of the patenting of intellectual properties or IPs of professors. And there is the academy. So many people believe that entrepreneurs cannot be trained. But we feel that entrepreneurs can be nurtured. All right, and that's why I'm going to share with you some programs on how we nurture entrepreneurs amongst our community. And the third thing is that entrepreneurship is only one part of this innovation ecosystem. In order to make the whole innovation ecosystem works, we have to actually think about the ecosystem and think about bringing in the right people to support and to help with the enhancing the innovation system. And I'll give you some examples later on. So if you look at the innovation spectrum, it actually started with ideas, and many of these ideas that I want to focus on will be the ideas coming from professors, right, which are patented in terms of IPs, right? And it also, if you look at the entire thing, look at many other aspects. So this diagram is a very much a simplified aspect of what are important when you want to build a company or an enterprise, right? You need the idea, and here we are looking at ideas coming from research. You need to look at talent, because not every one of us would be entrepreneurs, right? So you have to be able to suss out who are the strong potential amongst us who can actually run a company. And when you start a company, it is not simple. You need to understand about how do you create the market, all right? How do you access the market? And this one is extremely complex, and it depends on the invention. You also need to have mechanisms such as accelerators, incubators, to help to grow these startups, all right? And finally, especially for Singapore, we don't have a market. We only have 5.5 million people, which is smaller than the population of Bogor, all right? So we don't have a market. We have to ensure that our products, all right, can actually go to the markets elsewhere, right? So there are many aspects of this innovation ecosystem that we would have to pay attention. Next slide. For NUS, because of our research, right, we have actually been able to generate a lot of IPs, right? That one of the problems that we encounter is that it costs a lot of money to generate IPs. When you file for IP, you want to make sure that you also file it in some of the developed countries like US, Europe, right? So it costs a lot to file an IP. And it would be actually not productive if you leave the IP sitting in your IP office. you need your IP to be licensed out. You need your IPs to be used, right? If your IP is not used, the IP is actually a negative utility because it costs money to support the IP, to maintain the IP. So a big question for universities is, how do you get your IPs to be used? Right? So this is one problem that we try to solve. Next. We also have to care a lot about IP protection, the IP value chain, licensing issues, and industry collaboration. Now, one thing that I would say is that most university uses the technology push framework. The technology push framework is basically, I have an IP, if you want, come and use it. But before you use it, I make sure that you go through a lot of bureaucratic process, all right, and then you pay for the IP. That actually would not be very useful, especially for small and medium enterprises, right? So this is one problem that we want to try to solve. How do you make your IPs more easily accessible? How do you cut away the bureaucracy, right? And this is a big problem. Now, the other aspect of IPs is the demand pool model. The demand pool model basically looks at the market. If there's a market, then there is actually a justification for your IP. So I'm actually proposing that we should use the demand pool framework for IPs, not the technology push, right? Next. Now, one of the things that we do very early on in NUS is that way back, it's more than 20 years ago, we look at innovation and we think that it is a good thing for us to start, right? But if you look at it, 20 years ago in Singapore, we do not have an innovation ecosystem in Singapore. Next slide. And we started with one program called the NUS Overseas College Program. This is for our undergraduates. Our undergraduates will take 4 years to graduate. So in their third year, we actually send them on an internship. Now, many universities practice internship, right? Many universities also send their students for international internships. But what we have done differently is that we send our students to startups, right? Startups, and the very first place that we sent is Silicon Valley in California. We sent about 20 over students there in 2002, all right, more than 20 years ago. And basically, we tell them, you work in a startup for 1 year. You get credits. You get academic credits that goes towards your graduation. All right, so it is actually learning outside the classroom. We can't do that in Singapore then because, as I've said, Singapore don't have an innovation system. And at that time, when we look around 20 years ago, Silicon Valley is the best place, right? And students, when they work in these small companies, my friend would like to say that they catch the entrepreneurial bug. This I think during COVID, I think you don't want to be infected. But for entrepreneurship, you want to be infected. infected by the entrepreneurship bug, because you have a lot of chance. It's a small startup. You talk to the janitor, to the CEO, to the CTO. You actually get a good sense. We also see that as a very important thing. In entrepreneurship, you need to fail. You need to fail. You need to be able to fail. And you must experience failure. You must experience many failures, right, in order to make a good entrepreneur. So, entrepreneurship is actually the best sort of, I would say, controlled environment. Our students have gone through companies that went up in first 6 months, and in the next 6 months, it crashed. And the company has to close shop. But actually, they learn very valuable lesson about failures, right? And these are the things that we thought we want our students to do. Because if you look at the universities, the way we grade, all right, we give our students A, B, right, and fail. We don't encourage failures, right? If you fail, you cannot graduate. We don't encourage failures. But I think universities must find some way to encourage failures. And I think the best way is through experiential learning, like in an NOC. So the NOC has been very successful. We have actually, since 2002, sent more than 4,000 students, and they've graduated. And I'll give you a little bit of statistics. We also started a summer program, because we know that entrepreneurship is global. And we are looking also at Southeast Asia. Southeast Asia is actually huge. We have 650 million people, right? And 650 million people, Southeast Asia is relatively peaceful. We have grown tremendously over the last 20 to 30 years, all right? And Southeast Asia is very digitally penetrated. So Southeast Asia actually has a very strong potential when you look at Southeast Asia as an economic powerhouse, right? And that's why we think that we should have now a summer program to promote entrepreneurship among Southeast Asian students. So we set up summer programs. We basically create and teach our students how to do venture creation. And we say, please go back to your home country and set up startups. All right? No need to set up in Singapore. Go to your own country and set up startups. All right? Because you need the startups to be spread out. And then recently, we also have a Master's of Science in Venture Creation. Next, please. So to give you an idea on the program, NUS Overseas College, or NOC, as our students usually know. In fact, it's a tremendously popular program. Many students want to come into NUS and go on this program, but there's no direct admission. We will only put you through a trial for the first year and then start selecting only in your second year. All right, so they have to come into NUS first. Now, amongst the 4,000 over graduates in the last 20 years, they have actually set up more than 1,100 companies. And they have actually raised, so we put them in touch with venture capitalists or VCs, and they raised actually more than 4.5 billion US dollars, right, to start the two companies. It's still a very small group in the sense that there are about 9,000 jobs amongst all the startups, and about 10% of the startups in Singapore come from this group of graduates, right? So that, in a way, reinforces the point, right, that we can actually nurture entrepreneurs. And I see that, all right, and I'm sure that this is true even in IPB University and what you are trying to do. Because you have thousands of students. There are many talents amongst your students and your staff, all right? And many of them would actually have that ability to run a startup, to run a company. It's just that, you know, their potential has not been discovered. And amongst these startups, we have at least 2 unicorns, PetSnap and Carousel, which are the 2 unicorns from amongst these students or graduate startup. Next slide, please. The summer internship program, like I've said, we try to capture students from Southeast Asia, and occasionally we do take in students from other parts of Asia. So more than 30 countries have been involved, and it actually helped us suss out the environment also in the regional countries. And that's a program that I would be very pleased to also collaborate with IPB University. Next slide. So currently, our NUS students are quite fortunate in that there are more than 17 locations that they can do their NOC program in their 3rd year, right? We have 3 locations in North America, Silicon Valley, New York City, and Toronto. We are adding a 4th location in Chicago, right? And we have 6 locations in Europe, in Stockholm, in Sweden, in Oslo, in Norway, Munich in Germany, Paris in France, 2 locations in Israel. We have 3 locations and building more in China, in Shanghai, Shenzhen, and in Beijing. We are going to build 2 more in actually Japan, in Nagoya and in Tokyo. In Southeast Asia, we have Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam. We have Bangkok in Thailand. We have Jakarta, Yogyakarta, and Bandung in Indonesia, right? And Southeast Asia is one area that I think we are trying to build. So our students actually have access to startups, and they can do an internship in startups in all these cities. Next, please. I'll skip the venture creation part. Right, next. Let me talk a little bit more about the ecosystem. Having an idea, having a startup, it is the very start, but the very start of a very long and difficult journey. All right, so our entrepreneurs who do startups, they must have the perseverance to go through. But as a university, what we try to do is that we see how we can best help them. Right? What are the things that we can best? And my target is basically, I want to help them until they grow to get Series A funding. Series A funding is the major milestone for startups. It usually would mean that they would have gotten a few rounds of funding, and the Series A funding is one that it's significant in the sense that it could be $20–30 million, depending on the startup. And once you get Series A funding, then you are in business. All right, then you are like, okay, you got a very good chance of making it big. All right, but still there is a long journey. All right, there's still a long journey, but our intention for NUS is from 0 to Series A. That's it. All right, after that, when the VC invests $20–30 million, they would have their own ways to make sure that they get their money worth, right, from that $20–30 million investment. right? So that will be the VC's business. Our job is to grow them to Series A, all right? Next. We study a lot, all right? And I want to come back to this demand pull model versus the technology push model. We study Silicon Valley a lot. Silicon Valley really have a huge concentration of startups, talents, and unicorns. There are 250 unicorns in just the Silicon Valley. Right? Can you imagine the power? So to just give you a correspondence, the Japanese government has just recently announced last year that they are going to invest 100 trillion yen. 100 trillion yen. That's about 1 trillion Singapore dollars or 1,000 billion Singapore dollars. All right? The government, the Japanese government is going to invest that over the next 5 years, and they hope to build Japan into an innovation hub. They hope to have 100,000 startups, and they hope to have 100 unicorns. All right, so this give you a calibration. The worth of the Silicon Valley, all right, is 2.4 trillion US dollars. That's the worth, all right, of the Silicon Valley. So this is one example. Next. One thing that I need to say, that this and the next example, the Boston, they are supported very strongly by research-intensive universities. In the Silicon Valley, you have the University of California at Berkeley, you have Stanford University, and you also have UCSF, University of California at San Francisco. These are all very solid research-intensive university. In Boston, you have MIT, you have Harvard, you have Boston U, many research-intensive universities crowded there. All right, again, Boston, centered initially along Route 128, is again a big hub for innovation. And if you look at Boston and Silicon Valley, they actually use the demand pool model. Licensing is very easy. In fact, sometimes licensing is free of charge. Right? You just give it a chance for small companies to try. Right? They only care if, let's say, you have income of more than 1 million or 10 million. Then they say, okay, let's talk. Since you have been using my IP, maybe we should talk about how much we can get from you in terms of royalties. But if it is small, they don't bother. They say, take, go, use. Right? And this is a mindset that is not easy to change. Right? It's not easy to change because universities put in a lot of research money to generate the IPs. Why give it free? All right? But it is actually counterintuitive, but useful. Next. We know Israel is a very interesting startup ecosystem. Israeli universities do not have as much research funds, right? They do not have as much research funds, and yet, all right, they are very creative, right? So it is something within their system and their ecosystem that generates this creativity, all right? So theirs is an ecosystem where there are many ideas, and a lot of these ideas actually not necessarily come out from universities. Right? So very interesting sort of ecosystem. Next. Shenzhen. Shenzhen does not have any research-intensive university. Right? But Shenzhen is where it is quite near to Hong Kong. In the 90s, it is really quite an isolated village. But it is a special economic area as sanctioned by the Chinese government since the 1990s, and it is an area that thrives. Now, the GDP of Shenzhen is more than the GDP of Hong Kong. All right, and which are the companies that are in Shenzhen? Huawei, Ping An, all the big tech companies are there. So here is another interesting example of big tech companies. So if I have a board of trustees too, and in 2019, I brought my board of trustees to visit Shenzhen, right? And actually they were amazed. A company like Huawei, right, 200,000 staff, right, they easily have 50 to 60,000 research and development engineers. Research and development scientists and engineers. Ping An also had 30 or 40,000 research and development engineers. Huawei puts in $10 billion a year for research. $10 billion a year. All right, just one company, right? And it is actually these companies, and in Shenzhen, it's so competitive. Huh? If I have a product, an electronic product, I can go to one of the small firms, and I say, make 5,000. Make 5,000 for me. They can look at your plan, they can improve it, and they can make 5,000 within 1 week. They can do this prototyping, very rapid prototyping, which you can't find even in Silicon Valley. Right? And again, it doesn't have a top university, but it has very deep research capabilities in their big tech companies. So we study all this because we want to learn in each different place what works and what doesn't work. And we want to learn to see whether we can learn something and then put it in Singapore or in Southeast Asia. Next. One thing that I would be focusing quite a lot in the next few years in NUS is how do I build the ecosystem to be a rich and vibrant ecosystem and one of the best in the world. And if you look at it, even the innovation system is not insignificant. Our tech startups actually contribute 2.4% of our GDP, which is still significant. Our GDP is about 500 billion, so that is very significant. And it is very small. It is less than 1% of the workforce. So these are what I call the knowledge workers. Right? These are the knowledge workers that actually contribute significantly more per capita. Next. Now, one of the things that we do is that in the 10 years ago, after our NOC program, we have actually many students setting up companies, but we ran out of space in NUS. So near to NUS is an industry development which the government wants to tear down and to build something new. And that time was 2012. We went to the government and says that we ran out of space, can we borrow one block? Right? If you go to Singapore, the government built blocks because Singapore is small, so we live in flats. Right? And the government actually built flats and sell it to our residents, our citizens, and 80% of our citizens live in flats that are heavily subsidized. right, by the government. So for industry, also they built blocks, right? And that block was supposed to be tear down. We told the government, please let us go in there, all right? So the government actually relented and said, okay, you can use it for a while, all right? We'll tear it down later. And we start putting our startups there. And actually it became, the economists call it the densest startup system in the whole world, right? Because it has the most concentration of startups. And when our students, so we were trying to give a place for it. It is an incubator. So we asked our students, well, how should we name it? Now, if you go to Singapore, we live in blocks of flats, and every block has a number. That block has number 71. So our students say, just call it Block 71. And okay, that's how Block 71 was born. Block 71 is an incubator, right? It incubates startups, and 71 just happens to be the name of the block, the number of the block. Next. So we have now Block 71 in 9 cities around the world, right? And Block 71 actually hosted quite a lot. Our startups actually would generate revenues of more than $1 billion. So these are some statistics. I'll be happy to sort of share the slides with all of you, right? We have actually quite significant sort of startups in this Block 71, and also there are about 11 unicorns that has been groomed by our Block 71. Next. So the question is, how then do I do more and do better? Right? Because the innovation area is very competitive, right? And everyone wants to do it. So how do you actually make it very competitive? We must have talents, right? We must have connections. So talents and connections are very important. So that's what we actually try to do. And we also must have specialization. Specialization that will benefit, for instance, Singapore or Southeast Asia. So for instance, Pier 71 is an area that just look at maritime startups, because Singapore is actually a maritime port. A port is still an important part of Singapore, right? And the maritime startups are important because there are many challenges, right, for the maritime industry and many opportunities too. So that's where I think we can. So Pier 71 concentrates all the maritime type of innovations. Likewise, I think we are going to have agri-tech, aqua-tech, where it's another area that we love to collaborate with IPB University. Because as what your rector have said, you are the top in Southeast Asia, at the very least, for agricultural sciences. Yes, and forestry. Right? So we love to sort of learn from you and work with you. Next. So we also wanted to address this problem that I have mentioned earlier. We have many intellectual properties or IPs, right? But they are not licensed out. And my professors, not all of them are very good businessmen. So professors are good mostly in teaching and in research. If it's very hard to ask them to be good in teaching, research, and also in business. They become Superman or Superwoman. So we thought about it, and we thought, in the university, in NUS, we have about 5,000 research staff. These 5,000 research staff are mostly postdocs or research assistants, research fellows. Most of them would have PhDs. They are helping the professors do research in their labs, and they are supported by the grants of the research, by the professors. So we have 5,000 of them, and I have 4,000 PhD students. So I have 9,000 very scientifically competent and research competent staff. So what we do is that we have this program called the Lean Launchpad program. The Lean Launchpad program is a program that started in the US to teach professors to spin out companies. So we took the program to Singapore. We have been teaching our professors, but without much success. And now we teach them to just 1%. So every run, we take about 60 to 70. Right? 60 to 70, and then we train them on venture creation. After that, we give them the professor's IPs that we feel that can be translated. And we tell them, take one of the professor's IPs and try to spin off a company. If you take one and we look at it, you have a good plan, the university will invest 100,000 Singapore dollars into it as a seed money. But we also connect you with the VCs and all this. So actually we are quite lucky that we have actually trained about 150 teams. We have already, these learners have set up about 100 startups coming from professors' IPs. All right, and these 100 startups, actually, we put in about 7 million, about 6 million something, and we are able to connect them to the VCs, and they raise about 45 million. Right, so the ratio of raising is that every dollar we put in, they are able to raise $7, right, which is actually a fairly good ratio. In practice, most accelerators, you put in $1, you should be raising $3. But this one, I think we do 1 to 7. So we have about 100 teams set up, and we make 2 runs every year. All right, 2 runs every year. So this is our program to say, how do I ensure that our professor's IP gets spin off and not just sitting there in your IP office doing nothing or waiting for someone to license? Next. I don't have time to go through some of this, but this one example. We care a lot about sustainability, and we know that in the scheme of things, cement in construction produces a huge carbon trail. In fact, it emits 3 gigatons of CO2 every year. This is 1/12 of the entire CO2 emission for the whole world. All right, so this is 1/12. It's almost 10% of the CO2 emission. So how do we actually reduce the carbon? So our researchers came out with a more sustainable concrete or cement that actually would reduce the footprint by 70%. Right? So this is an example of a startup coming from the IP of a professor. Next. So we have actually, from the professor's IP, come out with startups that are involving smart city research or Industry 4.0, or food and agriculture, health, and also environment solutions. All right, so it actually spreads through quite a wide variety of startups. Next. Now, growing the ecosystem is not easy. all right? And we are constantly looking for good places to make connections and also to make sure that we have synergies that both sides will benefit through the collaboration, right? So recently, I've just went to Nagoya, and we're going to set up a Block 71 at Nagoya. And you may ask, why Nagoya? Why, of all places, Nagoya in Japan? Nagoya is actually the industrial base of Japan. It is where all the Toyotas, the Mitsubishis, all the big car companies are. This is where actually, so the Aichi prefecture or the province that Nagoya is in, all right, the Aichi prefecture has the biggest GDP in the whole of Japan because of it is an industrial hub. And when you have an industrial hub, you actually have a congregation of many support industries, right? And your startups actually needs the support industry to help them, right? So that's the reason why we went to Nagoya to set up a Block 71. And this is a collaboration between Nagoya University as well as the Aichi government, right? This is where the university, the government, and also the private industry comes in together. Next. So we have actually been building our Block 71 ecosystem, and we'll be continue to build. One sort of opportunities that we see is actually Indonesia. Indonesia, you have 270 million people. You actually have been growing extremely fast. You will be one of the top 10 economies in the world. So there is tremendous potential. And that's where I think we can actually work together to see how we can actually enhance each and other's innovation ecosystems, right, to benefit both our countries. Next. So we are quite fortunate that we started in Indonesia quite some years ago, actually more than 5 years ago. We have Block 71 in Jakarta, in Bandung, and also in Yogyakarta. All right, and because the Indonesian market is huge, there is actually even more opportunities, right? And we have been fairly successful in our Block 71s, all right, even in Indonesia. And we feel that there are tremendous potential for us to do more. Next. I'll skip this one. This is about alternative proteins, which will be also, Singapore, we have a, we import all our food, almost all our food. In fact, more than 90% of our food are imported. Because Singapore, we have no land to produce food. We only have 1% of our 700 square kilometers for food. 1%. 7 square kilometers for food. Your whole campus is already bigger than that. Right, we have 1% for food. But our Singapore government came out with a very audacious goal. Because, you see, during COVID, we saw that we are threatened because of supply chain disruptions, that we may actually not get food, right? And if you recall, COVID, I think, was a very difficult period for all of us, and food actually became a big, serious issue. So food is actually a security issue, a huge security issue. And I'm therefore very pleasantly surprised that your president has actually identified IPB University as the university, all right, that would actually lead the way for food security for Indonesia. My heartiest congratulations on that. And food is very important also for Singapore. So the government came out with an audacious 30-30 goal. That is by 2030, by the way, 7 years, we have to produce 30% of Singapore's nutritional needs. Right. Right now it's probably at 8%. So in 7 years, we got to jump to 30%. I don't know how. But certainly I think there is a lot of, we have to really think out of the box. And we have to really think differently in order to do that. But I think it is a very good stretch goal. Next. Next. I'll leave some of this. So if you look at how NUS and also how NUS innovation and enterprise have grown, it also in a way trails the development and the growth of Singapore, right? And here the point I want to make is that universities like IPB University can play a critical role in a whole country's development. Just like in a way, in fact, NUS does play in the growth of Singapore's innovation system. So this picture basically traces how the Singapore innovation growth and how at different ways, different parts, NUS actually was able to contribute. Next. We are still growing. We have now nurtured more than 3,000 startups. We feel that we can do more. And like I said, our big challenge is how do we actually make very good connections? And how do we facilitate the connections? Right? Making connection is one thing, but facilitating and making sure that people actually are linked up, that is very important. Next. I mentioned about this. Next. So I would want to sort of share that it is a long journey and you get problems from many, many sort of areas. So this is one startup who has just become unicorn. And one interesting story is that one of them, his big obstacle was his parents. All right. If you think about it, Singapore parents, I hope they are not this way now, but in the past, Singapore parents, they hope that they'll send you to university, you get a good job in a big company, and then you are made for life. That's always the thinking of Singapore parents in the past. So one of them actually chose the wrong time to tell his father. After he graduated, he wanted to do a startup. He go and tell his father on his father's birthday. And the father was so angry. He basically said, "What nonsense is this? I worked so hard to send you to university, and now you want to start your own company." All right, and he refused to talk to his son for a long, long while. But thankfully, the company actually now became a unicorn. All right, so the father was wrong. But you find that you never know what sort of problems will turn out. Right? One of the big challenges that when we send our students overseas, especially to Silicon Valley, we find that we send them in their third year, right? The initial part, most of them don't want to come back. Because they say, hey, look here, people like Bill Gates and all this, they don't have a degree. All right, they are super rich, so I don't need a degree. All right, they want to continue working there. So we have to actually persuade them, hey, come back, finish your degree, and then you can go back there, and do your startup, right? At least a degree gives you foundation, right? Not everyone is like Bill Gates. You don't need a degree and then you got lucky, right? So you should need a degree at least, you know, to give you some sort of backup. So we have problems like that. Now I have problems like my students want to go to Europe, wants to go to US, but I keep persuading them, Southeast Asia is interesting. Please, do it in Southeast Asia. Right, and you'll find that it is actually quite difficult to convince them. So, but I would have to try my best to try to convince them that actually Southeast Asia is now one of the hottest places. You should look at Southeast Asia because the tremendous sort of growth opportunities. Next slide. I'll not talk about PetSnap. Next. So I'll just like quickly to summarize. My time is almost up. When we are talking about innovation, my emphasis is that we should think about the whole ecosystem. And technology is just one part of it. The talent is very important. And it's not just the entrepreneurship talent. You need different types of talent to bring a company as it grows in the different stages. Right? So you have to worry about talent, you have to worry about the whole ecosystem and how to make the whole ecosystem work. So that's one. The second thing is that talent is very important. You can actually nurture talent. You can nurture talent, but the best way to nurture talent is to build the environment and put them in the environment. If you don't have an environment, send them somewhere first. Now make sure they come back. Make sure they come back and to contribute towards the environment. Right. My third point is that as we move forward, we see that deep technologies is going to be extremely important. Deep technologies are going to change how we handle sustainability and climate change. Just now I was having a good discussion with your rector that even in Singapore, we worry about coastal protection and flood management. Yes, flood happens in Singapore too. All right, flood is still a problem in many countries. And recently you see that Hong Kong, Shenzhen got flooded. You see that New York City also got flooded. So the flood is still a big problem. And flood is as ancient as it gets, right? But deep technologies is going to be very key. Deep technologies is already key. All right, all of us have heard about ChatGPT, all right, GPT-4, right, AI. All these are extremely important, but we also see that AI is actually not just about ChatGPT and AI. You may be aware that our scientists, one of the scientists in Europe, they have managed actually to use AI to control a Tohomac machine. The Tohomac machine is actually used so you want to try to control nuclear fusion, right? And fusion energy is supposed to be a very clean energy. You want to control nuclear fusion, you cannot contain the high temperature plasma with anything. So you can only use magnetic field. And you have to compute the magnetic field by computations, right? And you find that AI actually can speed up the computations. And AI can actually help to monitor and to change and to control the magnetic field to have different shapes of plasmas. And all this is done through AI, all right? not large language processing, it's AI, deep learning, right? AI is also very important in weather prediction, right? Weather prediction right now still uses a lot of numerical approximation, right? An area which, as a mathematician, and I think some mathematicians amongst you will be familiar with, weather prediction actually involves a lot of approximation, all right? But actually, you can use deep learning to do approximations. So a group from Huawei Cloud just published a paper in Nature where they use a 3D neural network to simulate weather forecasting. And they are more accurate and faster, right? So again, these two examples shows you that the deep technologies are going to be important for, all right, the world in order to solve the problems, be it climate change or digital transformation, right? And where do you find them? Well, in universities and also in big companies, right? So that's what you can. So we are actually now trying to develop the next wave of deep tech entrepreneurs and also the ecosystem to support it. And I hope that I have shared a 20-year journey, all right, with all of you. Have we ended? No. All right, it is an ongoing journey. We still have to continue, all right, to ensure that we keep on refining and perfecting what we do. Right. So thank you very much for your attention, and thank you for the honor of giving this lecture. Thanks.
Thank you so much to Professor Eng Chye for the insightful commemorative lecture. Ladies and gentlemen, now please welcome tribute songs performance by our student choir Agria Suara IPB.
It's everything I am.
the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding between IPB University and National University of Singapore. For this, would like to cordially invite the Rector of IPB University and the President of National University of Singapore to come to the front of the stage to conduct the signing of the memorandum. Signing MOU between IPB University and National University of Singapore. Next, we kindly ask the Rector of IPB and the President of NUS can take a picture with the document. Thank you. And next is giving the token of appreciations. First, from National University of Singapore to IPB University. And the second, from IPB University to National University of Singapore. Thank you so much, and Director IPB and President of NUS, please kindly have a seat. With the sign of Memorandum of Understanding, it marks the commitment of IPB and NUS to continue to work together in fostering research, academic innovation, and entrepreneurship to provide impactful outcomes in Indonesia and Singapore, and hopefully for worldwide. Next, in this momentous opportunity, would like to also highlight an example of the existing output of the collaborative works between IPB and NUS. And now we're going to present books entitled Atlas of Indonesian Pit Swam Trace Anatomy and Pit Swam Flora of Southeast Asia, authored by Prof.Dr. Triadiati from IPB University, Professor Sanjay Swarup, Director of NEUS Environmental Research Institute Singapore, and Randi Agusti and other co-authors. To symbolize the official launch, would like to invite Rector of IPB University, Professor Arif Satria, to formally hand Atlas of Indonesian Pit Swam Trace Anatomy book to Professor Eng Chye, the President of NUS. Thank you so much. Closing ceremony by Rector of IPB University.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, attendees of this open assembly, please allow me to express my sincere gratitude to Professor Eng Chye for his commemorative lecture. It is with my sincere hope that this lecture has motivated all of us in IPB University to continuously strive to provide wider and more tangible benefits and impact for Indonesia and the global community. With gratitude to the God Almighty, I declare that the Open Assembly of IPB University, in commemorating the 60th anniversary with scientific lecture by Professor Eng Chye, is officially closed. Thank you.
The processions will leave the venue. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the processions. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. To all distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this marks the end of our open assembly event today. Once again, would like to extend our sincere thanks and gratitude for your time and attendance. Thank you so much and have a pleasant day. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Selamat datang di IPB University, kampus hijau penuh prestasi, dinamis dan penuh karya, unggul akademik dan risetnya.
Ayo masuk IPB, kampus terbaik penuh inovasi, berintegritas dan menginspirasi. Tunggu apa lagi? Ayo masuk IPB.
Beragam fakultasnya, asri dan hijau lingkungannya.
3, 2, 1, go! Here we go! Welcome to IPB University Bogor, lokasinya teduh suasananya. Bertemu teman dari seluruh Nusantara, Jawa, Sumatera, hingga Papua. Kita bersama raih asa seluasnya, gapai cita bersama banggakan orang tua. Ya, we are here again, call us the nation. Satu IPB untuk satu nation. Haha, come on!
Berpadu satu raih asa, bersama kita raih cita.